What's happening, guys? Happy Sunday and welcome to the Dynasty WarZone, the People's Dynasty podcast. On today's show, this show right here, we're going to do a mock draft. We're going to do a 2-round all-rookie mock draft, and no one better to mock draft with than my co-host. You know him better as the man of the hour and the man with the power, Jerry Sinclair, buddy. 2 weeks in a row, I feel like it's my birthday.
You know, maybe it's better than your birthday, bud, because every birthday we get a little bit older, and that's a little bit more depressing once you stop hitting about 21. Good to be here. They're sending me back to Omaha next week, but I don't think I'm going to be there on Sunday, so I should still be able to do 3 weeks in a row. Look at that. Let's fucking go. We got the combine coming up. Randall, you're moving up in the world, right? You're a fast guy now?
Yeah, I am. I don't know. Maybe you heard on our patron pod that I did where I did my running back rankings in a startup. I was like, almost 8 years ago, it'll be 8 years that we've been doing this in July. And if you'd have told young Memphis back then that, one day he was going to be a credentialed member of the NFL media at the combine, interviewing these players with guys like Anand Nanduri from Player Profiler, I'd have said you were smoking crack or full of shit. And I know Jerry, he's not smoking crack, but he could be full of shit. But yeah, man, definitely going Friday morning. Now the pass is all inclusive, I guess, for all media events. There's I'm freestyling this off the top of my head. Tuesday and Wednesday. One day is the NFL general managers. The next day is the head coaches, or vice versa. Then they start tearing it out by position players. Because of my work schedule, my day job, I'm only going to be able to get away on Friday. But I'm going to go Friday morning because from like 8 a.m. until 11, we get to interview the quarterbacks, the running backs, and the wide receivers.
Hell yeah.
Short of tight ends, there couldn't be a better day for Dynasty and Fantasy podcast, content creator. So that's what I'm going. What kind of questions should I ask? Do you have any weird Jerry questions?
No, don't ask him a weird question. Don't be one of those weirdos now. We got a reputation to uphold, my friend. You just ask. I want some Dynasty related stuff though. I don't give a shit about their hand size. I don't give a shit about none of that. Randy, I need some actionable questions.
One of our patrons wanted me to ask Ollie Gordon a question. And it was a good question, but I think I'm going to rephrase it. And it was said, what NFL offense? Tell me if this is a good question to ask Ollie Gordon, okay? Mm-hmm. Obviously, if you go look at his, sports, I guess I always say Pro Football Reference, but if it's like the College Football Reference website, his counting stats went down from 23 to 24. So I think the question I'm going to ask him is I'm going to polish up the one that our patron wanted me to ask. And it's going to be is, hey, what NFL offense will allow you to get back to those 2023 Oklahoma State stats? Is there an offense that you think you're a good fit for? What do you say?
I think that's solid. I mean, we sort of thought there was a chance that man was going to be RB1 coming into this season. And now he is just absolutely falling off the face of the earth. Now, granted, that team was mud butt.
Do you remember
I'm talking you chugged a whole case of Natty Light and you woke up the next morning mud butt. Not entirely his fault.
You are a gross man. Do you remember the last running back that from Oklahoma State that set the world on fire, came back for an additional year of college, and is just now starting to hit his stride? Do you remember who that is?
Chuba Hubbard.
Yep, Chuba Hubbard. So and then based on the best of your recollection, would you say Chuba's been pretty good for the NFL?
I mean, based on last year,
I would agree. So I'm not going to throw Ollie Gordon out. I do want to see his combine metrics. Is there anyone that you're really curious to see their combine metrics on? Do you want like a sneak peek?
Well, I'm hoping I get a sneak peek anyway because I will be in the Patreon chat, and I assume that Randall will be given updates because if he's not, then he's going to get a harshly worded text message from one Gerald Matthew. But nothing specifically. I'm happy you're going to be there. I'm excited for you. I think that is a kick-ass opportunity and just a bucket list item for somebody who has just had an immense passion for this game for a long time. And it's right in your backyard. So that's awesome.
That's the bigger thing. One of the other cool things is I've been invited to a lot of cool stuff with Player Profiler, and it's been great. And I don't know, man. I had to turn down the opportunity to be in the media room during the Super Bowl. I couldn't get down to New Orleans. It was just, I don't want to say it was more than it was just a lot. You know, it was a lot with work and everything. But yeah, I want to get into, I do have a good people bad tweets for you. It is rookie related. I want to get into this mock draft. We have a lot of show, but if you want to put the rookie knowledge to the test, 100% to the test, you can check out FastDraft Origins.
Rookie. It's all about rookie talk in fantasy football right now. So why not go use all that knowledge to do something other than a mock draft? Chris Cimino won $8,000 with just 2 teams last year, and each draft took 5 minutes. That's pretty good ROI. You can start doing rookie drafts for money today on FastDraft. The Origins tournament is live. It is the place to go and monetize your knowledge of rookies and use your favorite player profiler host promo code for a $25 deposit match. Now let's go start drafting faster.
There you go. FastDraft. Make sure it's legal in a state near you. Sign up. You use the promo code WarZone. You'll get a $4 deposit match up to $25. Drafts fill up and you can blast through a bajillion of these things. And because of the size of the field, better odds, better odds of being successful, especially if you think you've got the secret sauce as it relates to rookies. Jerry, before we get into rookies and maybe even secret sauce, I have a good tweets, and it's very apropos going into rookie season, everything going on with rookies. This thing's now got 172,000 views, and it is Dwayne McFarland, at Dwayne McFarland. I like it when the at's the same as your name. Super easy stuff. Good for you, Dwayne, at Dwayne McFarland. This is a good tweet. And it tweet says, people watching film for 1 to 2 months per year and becoming an NFL prospects expert will never not be funny. Jerry, I heard you say under your breath that you saw this. What was your take?
I mean, bro's not wrong. Like, he's not. Like, I know we have a football show and, but we're also not claiming to be scouts because we watch film for a month, because I'm not. I don't give to quote Randall, I don't give a tinker's fuck where any of these players go. I don't care where they get drafted. I don't care the placement that they get drafted. I just need that data set so I know how to use it in Dynasty. So I'm with Dwayne. I agree. If that's not your game, like we had Nino on last week, that boy ain't doing no 2 months of work. That boy is a grinder. That boy hustles. That is what he does all the damn time, which is why we have him on, right? I mean, also he's just an entertaining ass cat, which helps. But no, I'm with you. We got a whole bunch of fluff in the Twitter world today, and it's everybody wants to be awesome because they heard a bunch of people say a bunch of names, and then they started watching a bunch of YouTube videos about it, and then they want to claim that as their title.
First of all, I respect the passion. I respect the passion that as soon as it, and like it's like a natural order of things. The NFL season ends, they become a scout. They take off the fantasy expert, gambling expert hat, put on the rookie film analysis hat. I'm gonna be honest, and I know this is going to chap some asses. There might be in the dynasty in the NFL space. Because remember, I just want you to think about the success rate of actual NFL GMs, the ones that actually get paid 7 figures, in some case 8 figures a year to do this. Think about their hit rate, and they have scouting teams, directors of scoutings, regional scouts, scouts on scouts on scouts, and they still get it wrong. And it's like these people just get on X and they're like, could you imagine leaving your rookie draft without Billy Bob Cousin Smith? What? Who cares? Who cares? I think there's nothing more overrated than amateur film scout. I mean,
it's like a mixtape. It's like, this is my mixtape.
It is, dude. I've said this for the 8 years we've been doing the podcast. People watching film are really watching highlight cut-ups with shitty rap music. And that's not to say that rap music is shitty. I love rap music. But it's usually set to some horrible rap song. And I've fallen for this banana in the tailpipe one too many times. I remember one time I thought I could watch Scout. Now, again, there are some good ones. Dane Brugler, Matt Waldman, Nick Whalen, Cody Carpentier, Ray Garvin. There's a handful of guys who understand the game. And not only do they understand the game, they have a proven, and that's the word I will remind you in this rookie fluff season. They have a proven track record of success. But you know what? Here's a secret sauce. Even those really talented guys, they still take into account all of the metrics, all of the mock drafts, everything. They don't get locked into film. So people are going to be super hyped this coming weekend with the combine and people in their underwear running the 40-yard dash, Jerry. But we just got to be careful.
We do got to be careful, but also be excited about it. Because listen, it's weird. Like I fucking love the combine. And there is no reason that a 36-year-old man in central Iowa should care that much about 21-year-olds running in spandex. But I will tell you what, Randy, I will be glued in the whole time because it's what I have. This is the game I like to play. Like, I love Dynasty. You don't have 20-some teams if you don't love it. And obviously, like every good patriotic American and Australian, love y'all. We love American football. And so this is what we have right now. Like, I like college basketball because I went to Michigan State and Tom Izzo's good at coaching and that team's good. But like, is it the same as football? No, not even in the same universe. So this is the one taste of the one joy that I just fucking love every single year. And I will love it until the day they bury me in the ground. I will love football for the remainder of my life. And this is the glimpse. This is the taste that we get. So is it just, dudes in spandex running around and lifting weights and catching? Yeah, it is. But that's what I get right now. So I'm going to love every second of it.
I agree. I will say that's the one great thing about the NFL. They give you something every month in the offseason. Hey, the Super Bowl's over. Have a little combine. Oh, the combine's over. Have some free agency. Oh, free agency's over. Have the NFL draft. And then for us degenerates, why don't you take the months of like May and June and do a bunch of rookie drafts? Then you get a little bit of a reprieve. We all get a vacation in the month of July. Then we roll right into, training camps back into July, August. We're right back in the season. That's what makes the NFL wonderful. That's what makes everybody go batshit crazy. But remember Uncle Dana.
To tell you this, it was a huge fucking clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Completely fucking irresponsible, a shit show, dangerous, stupid, irresponsible, and just completely fucking ridiculous.
I think that's well said. I think that's well said. We were supposed to have had Theo Grimminger on tonight. Now, Theo...
But he found out I was here, so he skipped out this time?
This time, if you can't make it next week because you're in Iowa, he has no one to blame but himself. Here you are. He's at the Islanders game. He won or managed to get tickets, and he sent me a text. he's literally right on the glass. Like he's sitting there scaring the players as they come skating by. But it was a very, very cool scene. So everybody likes mock drafts. Mock drafts do well for everybody. Everybody loves to hear us talk about the players. It does good downloads. It does good views on YouTube. Like and subscribe, by the way, Player Profiler Now Plus. It's a secondary channel if you're already following on Player Profiler. Follow the Player Profiler Now Plus. And, of course, everywhere podcast. Jerry, I am going to give you the 101, but I want to remind you. I want to remind you that it is, in fact, tight end premium, and it is super flex. And we're going to say it's 2.0 tight end premium. I don't know if that quarter of a point or half a point from normal tight end premium will sway you to bump up these tight ends. But I'm going to let you go 101 because you're lazy. You like easy things. So I'm going to let you go 101. Lay it on me.
Okay. I do think that matters for the tight ends, for the record. That is a juicy premium to add. Ashton Genty, because every single format. Randy, who you got at 102?
Yeah, and I don't want to gloss over that. Write it down. Be like Moses, get you a big stone tablet, chisel it right in there. Ashton Genty 101, no matter what. We've said
it doesn't matter if you don't think Ashton Genty is like the next Saquon Barkley. The problem is whoever you're going to say at 102 is going to have a wart somewhere. And so Ashton Genty is just the safest pick that you can make. And if you're making a pick at 101, either your team is very bad and it needs an elite talent on it, or you've traded for it and you traded a ton for it, which means you need somebody that's going to return value. Ashton Genty is the safest one. 101 doesn't matter.
100%. And I am going to go a different route. Now, I reserve the right. Now, hopefully Jerry can be back next week. We'll get Theo back next week. Maybe we'll get another guest. We'll get like Dallas to come by. We'll do another mock draft. We'll do a post-combine. Hey, here's the guys who blew it up. This is what we thought before we saw them in their drawers. Now we're going to redraft them now that we've seen the numbers, what's changed. I'm looking at and how about this? You guys will be proud of me. I actually logged in. I changed my password and I logged into Player Profiler. So I'm looking at our rookie rankings. I'm going to go literally off the reservation. Jerry, who's been my favorite prospect to date?
I mean, it hasn't been a quarterback. That's for damn sure.
It's been Omarion Hampton.
I was going to say, I got our mock draft somewhere. I'm going to pull it up.
I reserve the right to go Caleb Johnson if Caleb Johnson crushes him at the combine. And then I'm going to reserve the right if one of these guys lands in a position that I find to be very, very juicy. I think Denver's very juicy. I think the Dallas Cowboys could be very juicy. The LA Chargers, definitely one of the better landing spots. So right now, with the information that I have, I'm going Omarion Hampton. But again, I reserve the right to change my mind if Caleb Johnson sets the world on fire. Jerry 103.
I hate this pick, honestly. I don't want to pick anybody here. I think I might go Caleb Johnson, Randy. And I know everybody's like, whoa, what about Ted? What about Ted? I just don't love Ted McMillan. I think he's probably good, but 102, I don't know, or 103. I feel like he's Cortland Sutton. And would you take a 22-year-old version of Cortland Sutton at 103? I don't think you would. Even when Cortland Sutton came out, he was 110, 111. So I think I'm going to go Caleb Johnson. And honestly, Randy, I'm probably going to push wide receiver down a lot. So if you're a person that is here because you wanted to hear some glorification about the wide receivers, you're just not going to get it. I think this class has a lot of running backs that are going to be assets. I won't say game changers, but I think they're going to be assets. So I am definitely going to take a ton of running backs. So I'll take KJ too, man.
No, I'm totally good with that. I'm getting back, and the Podfather just did his first Mind of Mansion of 2025. He had Scott Connor on, and he was talking about drafting running backs. I said this last week. I said it on our patron-only podcast. I am getting back to the draft running backs, trade for wide receivers mentality. I have no problem, even in a super flex tight end premium, going running back, running back, running back. And I like your comparison. I think Tet McMillan is a better athlete than Cortland Sutton. His high school 40 was a 4.46. It's one cool thing about subscribing at Player Profiler. If you sign up for the all-in package and you use code WarZone, it'll save you a couple of bucks at checkout. But that's the cool thing about Player Profiler. When you have the all-in package, that's what I have. You can see stuff like this. The one thing I want to see about Tet McMillan, who I will take a 104, is I want to see his burst and 3-cone drill metrics. You know, is he a straight line speed guy? Because if he is, he could be another Michael Wilson. I'm fine with Michael Wilson. He's a 4.4 guy. He's a taller guy. He's a boundary wide receiver. I can't think of a lot of 6'4" wide receivers outside of maybe T. Higgins, and I don't think T. Higgins is setting the world on fire. He's fine. He lives a good, and I think
he's got a good PR team.
He's got a great PR team. He went to Clemson. He's with Joe Go Burr. But I will say there is not a standout superstar in this draft. Doesn't mean one of the guys can't turn into one, but I went Tet McMillan based on reputation. As I sit here and workshop this, I don't love it, but that is the pick, Tet McMillan.
105, I'm going to go Cam Ward. If there's going to be a quarterback that I think can be valuable and can be good enough for me to take him early, it's probably him. I mean, we're gonna end up seeing where he's going. I got a feeling it's going to be pretty damn early. So that would be my guy. Also, I mean, we're going to talk about Shedeur Sanders at some point. He just seems like he's Geno Smith to me, and I have no desire to take Geno Smith as QB1 in a class. That's me.
We'll talk more about the quarterbacks as we get going. I'll tell you, both of these quarterbacks let things come out over the past few days that I don't love, you know, and I can understand betting on yourself, but Cam dropping the old chestnut of, if you pass by me, I'm going to make you pay. You know, you have to play me every year for the rest of my career. I didn't love it. I see where and I see where the Jets could trade up to go get him. It's over. It's over. No one gets out of all pro, one of the, I'll say, top 8 quarterbacks of all time, especially from a physical skill standpoint. Even though he was older, Aaron Rodgers couldn't overcome that dumpster fire. No. It is not a good spot. Is he going to go to Tennessee? So I'm going back to the wide receiver position. And now, even though we're just drafting BPA, best player available, I'm going to go Luther Burden. Absolutely love this guy. I know the stats were down in 2024, but I want to see the burst. I don't love his 20-yard short shuttle. Again, these are high school metrics from playerprofiler.com. I'll be very curious. You know, we had Nino on last weekend, and Nino was like, would you rather have a guy with long speed or like a guy who can get burst? When it comes to that's for the running backs. When it comes to wide receivers, it's about separation. And I think Luther Burden will be able to create separation. Double that if he goes to a crafty offensive coordinator who's good at putting guys in motion, moving things around. I think this guy could be a mismatch based on where they want to put him. So for now, I'm going Luther Burden, and the best name in the draft, by the way. Luther Burden the third.
I mean, the third does make it. I'll give you that. I think he's probably my wide receiver 1, probably who I would take over Tet. That's just me. 107, since Randy gave me a little juicy tight end premium. I'm just going to go Tyler Warren here. I mean, if we're going to have, what'd you say, 175 or 2 or whatever it was for a tight end premium, and I can get a guy who's been absolutely productive. He was the heartbeat of an offense that ended up making the college football playoff, and I don't really think the rest of that team was worth a damn outside of him, and the running backs were pretty good, but Tyler Warren, easy. Because here's the thing. If you are playing Dynasty and you have a juicy tight end premium scoring format and you have a tight end problem, you have a winning problem. Because somebody in your league has a guy that is just fisting you over and over with, sorry, Randy, I scared you, with Brock Bowers and, the Trey McBrides of the world and, whoever else, not Kyle Pitts, obviously. I appreciate you, Rubio. No, diddy. No, Tyler Warren, man.
He was my next pick. Now
Good. That's what you get.
I'm gonna bring something up, and I'm not trying to be a dick. I normally don't have to try. It's just typically how it works out.
No,
but
diddy.
Chad Parsons of Under the Helmet, great guy. He invited me on his show last fall, just before the season kicked off. Wonderful guy. Been doing content longer than us.
True.
But he was talking about age-adjusted something or another with Tyler Warren the other day. I'm like, we're worried about a rookie tight end's age at the position that takes the longest to mature of anyone. It's the hardest position to get right in Dynasty. You just mentioned how hard it is to get one. And so you want to draft the young athletic guy who's the athletic specimen, the Noah Fant, the Albert Okwuegbunam. You might get lucky and get a David Njoku who sits for 3 or 4 years between developing and eventually becoming a good pro. There are worse guys to take a shot on than a guy who physically, it's not a 1-for-1 comparison, but physically a guy who's the same height and weight as Rob Gronkowski. This guy can be a mismatch. And this guy, let me ask you this. I absolutely love Denver for a lot of reasons, but one, I'm old and I'm a Sean Payton stan. And you remember when Sean Payton had Drew Brees and a tight end named Jimmy Graham?
Listen, me and Jimmy Graham, we could build a statue of that man outside my house.
He was also like 6'6", 6'7", big body, red zone targets on red zone targets. There are landing spots that end tight end premium. There are landing spots. Denver is one of them. I'll think of some more. But if a Tyler Warren lands there, you could potentially, in a 2-point tight end premium, you could justify making him the number 1 pass catcher off the board. Doesn't mean he's, going to go ahead of O'Marion or definitely Genty or Caleb Johnson. But if you're in a 2.0 tight end premium and you love the spot, I'm not going to hate you if you make him the number 1 pass catcher, because there's not a Malik Neighbors in this class. There's not a Marvin Harrison Jr. There's some nice wide receivers, but I like Tyler Warren, the athlete, and I like Tyler Warren, the pick. I will cuss you under my breath. I did want to ask you a question real quick while I'm getting ready to make the 108. How did you take the news that your boy Travis Hunter is going to be a defensive back in the NFL?
It pissed me off, if you wanted me to be honest, because I really thought he was my 102. And to lose that opportunity, that just sucks. But that's because I'm selfish and I want this game to be easy for me. And if we had an extremely talented player like Travis Hunter in rookie drafts, that's somebody we know. And we know that they're going to be good and they're going to produce. So that sucks. Don't love that. I mean, if you're in an IDP league, I guess, because he'll probably get some offensive packages, you would assume.
He was your 102, if I remember correctly, in the first draft. The first rookie mock draft we did. I look at it this way. He's got arguably the best cornerback of all time in the NFL as part of his advising crew.
Yeah.
And what does the NFL churn? I know, and first of all, this is where normally I would browbeat the people of X, but I'm not going to, because I also believe you always chase the money. And I know that a top wide receiver makes $30-ish million and a top corner makes $20-ish million. But how many elite corners are there in the league? Not a lot.
No, you got Patrick Surtain.
Patrick Surtain, the guy in Atlanta, Terrell, pretty good. Darryl Stingley Jr.
Yeah.
Sauce Gardner, kind of, one great year, one bad year. Not bad, but one less than great year. Not a ton. Not a ton. I don't blame him. It's a bummer. I still think if he's in your draft pool and you want to throw like a 4th or a 5th round on him, just because you like the guy.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I couldn't draft him before the 4th.
No. Yeah, no. He will not be mentioned today.
All right.
Beyond this.
I'm between 2 Buckeyes.
As you should be.
But if I say I'm drafting running backs and trading for wide receivers, then I have to draft Travion Henderson.
Okay.
Just a guy that I like. I think after last week's conversation with Nino Brown, I think I like Judkins a little bit more. And I will just say this, and part of it's lazy, but unintentionally. I cannot recall. I would have to go back and look at previous drafts. But Jerry, is this the most landing spot dependent draft you can? I mean every position, with the exception of Ashton Genty. Is there a prospect? Now, obviously, Ashton Genty could get drafted to the Colts or the Eagles, or insert team with a really good running back under contract in the spot. But Ashton Genty feels landing spot proof. This entire draft order could be blown up with dynamite based on where these guys land. And I'm going to bank on the talent of Travion Henderson. But if Judkins lands in one of those prime spots, he's going to be hard to ignore. So I'm going to go Travion Henderson here, and I'm going to throw it back to you.
I love the pick. I think there's a real chance Travion Henderson ends up as the 102 by the time we get to the NFL draft.
Really? Now, do you just think he's gonna...
I have always liked his game. He just seems, he's a guy that can do everything you need him to do. The problem is he gets hurt, and that's why I can't justify putting him there, and that's why I think where he's at with this is fine. But as far as talent is concerned, I think Travion Henderson is the 102. But I'm cool with that. That would have been who I would have picked, and since you stuck me with him, I'm going to take Quinshon Judkins, and I think Quinshon Judkins is a dude on his own. I don't think there is really anything that truly separates Hampton, Caleb Johnson, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins. Really? I think some of them are going to end up in a perfect situation. And it's going to make them leapfrog. But if any of the other ones did better than them, I wouldn't be entirely surprised at all. Jack Sawyer's a fucking demon. He's like the quintessential. If you're listening on the podcast, Jamie posted about some IDP players from the Buckeyes. Jack Sawyer is such a dog. I wish he would have punched Sharon more in the face that day, but no, love that guy too.
And enjoy giving love to the people that chime in on Player Profiler Now Plus on YouTube. Rubio had a great comment earlier about Jerry and the tight ends, and then Jamie's an OG one, day one, always got our back guy. So I love the guys and ladies who comment in the chat. This is the time where if I'm a contender, I'm going to take Shedeur Sanders. Okay. I'm going to lean into the fact that I got the 110. What if I have Matt Stafford? What if I have Geno Smith? What if I have a guy that, maybe Aaron Rodgers was part of my build. Maybe I got a Baker. Here's the thing. I don't think he's ever going to be a quote unquote difference maker, but you don't have to be a difference maker to be valuable. Would you have labeled Bo Nix as a difference maker coming out? But he was. He was a second round, late first round rookie draft player who went on to put up a top 10 QB fantasy season. It's like, that's what you're hoping to catch with Shedeur Sanders. I think he could be a better version of a Jared Goff or a Kirk Cousins. I'm not sure he has the pocket presence. He seems to hang on to the ball too long. He gets blasted a lot.
I see Geno Smith every time I watch.
There will be,
but that's fine. I mean, you're taking him at 110 here.
Yeah,
I mean, like, would you take 22-year-old Geno Smith? Not on the Jets, of course. It's in that spot. I think that's probably fair. Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. If Shedeur Sanders got drafted by the Jets, then no, I could.
I did
throw that pick away. I don't need that nonsense. But
Shedeur said that the Browns are his favorite team on Madden. I was like, there's a little foreshadowing. All right, Jerry, I'm going to give you the 111. You are on the clock.
And now we are starting to hit little tougher times. I think I'm still going to go tight end. I think I'm going to go smelly ass Wolverine, Colston Loveland. We have the big premium. And I said it earlier. If you have a tight end problem in a tight end premium league, then you have a winning problem because somebody is just knocking you over the head with those bonus points week after week after week. So I will take my shot at him because he's another guy that just the offense ran through. And if you're a person that your entire offense can run through in a major college football program, then obviously you can create a role in the NFL. I don't need an NFL roster to run through you. You're not Saquon Barkley. I mean, I don't need you to be Travis Kelce. When I pick a tight end at 111, I need you to be a top 12 tight end, which means I need you to get 500 yards at some point in the next 3 years. And I think that is easily possible with him. If he can get 60 catches and 500 yards, I mean, that's good enough to be a tight end one. And if I can get that here in a juicy tight end premium league, yes, sir.
Well, I want to put together where you're at. You're drafting at the 111.
Yep.
That means you're a contender.
Yep.
This kid, literally a kid, he can't even buy a beer. Like he's per player profiler, he's 20.8 years old.
He looks like he's 20.8
he looks like he's like 18, but he's literally 4 months away. So he won't even be able to go celebrate legally with a beer on draft night. But one thing that I find redeeming about him is that even though J.J. McCarthy got drafted and was gone last year, he had more catches in 5 less games. Now the yards per game was down. The Wolverines' offense was junk. And this is a pick made by a contender. I cannot stress that enough. This is a pick made by a contender. If you have the 111, unless you traded for this pick, you were likely a very good team. You've probably got a tight end. Maybe you're the 111 and you got like a Travis Kelce. Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? He's leaning toward coming back. You can draft this kid late. This could be, your last.
You gotta take a stab at a tight end sometime if you've got him.
What a time to do that. All right. I'm going to take the guy who, if you go to Player Profiler Now Plus, and this is a monster leap of faith. Okay. Monster leap of faith, but I'm going to give some context. If you go to Player Profiler Now Plus and look at the thumbnail, again, shout out Brittany, love Brittany. I'm going to go Jackson Dart. I think he's going to land in a good spot. I don't think he's going to land in one of these bum New York Jets spots. I think there's going to be a Sean Payton. It even could be like a Kellen Moore. Someone's going to go, I can do with Jackson Dart what Sean Payton did with Bo Nix. I can build an offense around him that will protect him, will have a system. I would love it if the kid did get drafted to New Orleans, because they have to sit, Derek Carr. They have to ride him for one more year because of the financial contract and salary cap and dead cap and all that happy horse shit. But this is the kind of guy, you won the league, unless you traded your pick. You won the league. You could probably use an influx of talent at the most important position in Superflex. So as crazy as it is to say, I don't think it'll be as crazy. Remember last year and everybody said we were crazy, especially me because he was one of my guys, that taking Bo Nix this early was crazy? It's not as crazy as it seems. Give me the quarterback. Give me Jackson You know, how long before we give him the nickname Butt? Jackson Butt Dart.
Okay, well, that depends how bad he's going to be, brother.
Dude, I see everybody steaming him up like a
which they are, which makes me want to not like him. I'm going to be honest. That's just
Jerry don't like the steam.
No, that's the hipster millennial guy in me. Like, it's just like, oh, everybody likes it. I don't like it. But
well, I'm glad we didn't make this a 5-rounder like we talked about earlier. I'm glad I made it a 2-rounder.
We talked too much to do that.
No. Well, that's okay. We can go a little bit longer because guess what? There's no football on. There's no show behind us on Player Profiler. If we go an hour and 20, guess what? Don't care. We're going to. Let me recap the first round. We'll take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll do a not quite a lightning round, but a little bit faster in round 2. Jerry went Ashton Genty 101. I went Omarion Hampton 102. Caleb Johnson went 103. Tet McMillan went 104. Cam Ward 105. Luther Burden 106. Tyler Warren, first tight end off the board, 107. Travion Henderson 108. His teammate Quinshawn Judkins 109. Shador Sanders, hold up the watch, 110. Colston Loveland, Jerry does like tight ends, 111. And then Jackson Dart at the 112. That is, in fact, the first round. We'll be right back with the second round.
If you play in Dynasty, you need Dynasty Deluxe, our premium package for Dynasty Leaguers. We rank over 300 players, updated every week, all year long. And there's a win now mode and a rebuild mode with Superflex and tight end premium controls. And a Dynasty League sync where you can say, sync down all of my sleeper teams, all my FFPC teams. And then you can browse around your leagues for who has needs. And then you can use our trade finder to see what kinds of trades are happening in leagues that are similar to the one I want to do. Then you can analyze trades using our trade analyzer, which balances the lifetime value, which includes picked values out to like 2028. All of that plus the rookie guide, $25 value is included. So if you're just in one Dynasty League, Dynasty Deluxe is well worth it. And use your host's promo code, and you can bump up to all in and get $25 off.
There you go. And remember, if you want to support this show, the promo code's WarZone. You can do it with FastDraft. You can do it with Dynasty Deluxe. Go all in. Go all in. You'll be glad with everything that you get with that. You get a book. I mean, Jerry likes to read. He's a historian. Jerry, let's jump into round numero deuce. Go a little bit deeper this time. You're on the clock with the 201. I almost said the 101. 201.
It is the 201, but honestly, if this guy was taken at 102 in a few drafts, I honestly wouldn't be that surprised, Randy. Emeka Egbuka, Ohio State wide receiver.
Yeah, he's the most. I don't want to say glaring. He's the most notable guy that from the last time we did this.
Yeah, it's just I think he's very good. I mean, we're talking about a dude who had 1,000 yards with Jackson Smith and Jigba next to him. And he had 1,000 yards last year with Jeremiah Smith across from him. I mean, the guy has had unbelievable talents next to him, and he still produced extremely well. And the fact that he's at 201 here, I don't think that's going to be reality in most drafts. I think there's always going to be, for one, Buckeyes are everywhere. Looking at you, Jamie. Even in the comment section, we got Buckeyes. They're in every league. And everybody falls in love with Buckeyes because every single year we're drafting them because they have exciting players. It is what it is. And he's a guy that we have talked about for a long time because he was a Debbie Darling and he was productive early on as a sophomore and yada, 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 yada. So I don't think you're going to see him at 201 very often, but either way, I think he's like a Chris Olave type of Buckeye. Like if I'm just going to quote or comp Buckeye wide receivers, and where would I take Chris Olave? I know a lot of people fucking love Chris Olave, and to think that he's only worth the 110, 112, 201 is sacrilegious to some of you, but that's probably about where I would take him based on his production. I think Emeka Egbuka is going to be right around there because we've seen him when he's had other alpha wide receivers with him, and he has not been to that level. But he's good, and he can still carve out a role, and he is a good player. So when he gets drafted, he'll be able to fit in no matter who's there. It's not like one of those situations where somebody gets drafted, like Jordan Addison gets drafted, and you go, oh shit, Justin Jefferson's there. He's not going to be a dog, so his value is going to take a hit. Emeka Egbuka is still going to be fine. He's still going to do exactly what Emeka Egbuka does. And I think 201 is, I mean, it's a little cheaper than I would consider, but like Jamie said, probably around 107. I think that's probably about where most of them will have him. I just tend to like the running backs better in this class. So well, I know I said we were going to hurry up, and then with 201, I literally talked about one player for 5 minutes, but he's a polarizing player because he's probably going to go a lot higher than where I just took him. But dude's good, but there's a reason I took, 2 tight ends and some running backs ahead of him before I even considered him.
Completely reasonable. Could be the steal of this draft. He's a guy who, like you said, could have went 105, 106 in this draft, and that would have been fair. I think this is the power of this draft, especially if you need the tight end position. And if I have to choose between a wide receiver that I'm kind of on the fence on or one of these premium positions, I'm going to lean. And I'm going to go Ollie Gordon Jr. I think he can get back to, it's a copycat league. We've said this 100 times this offseason. People look at all the teams that made the playoffs. I've said this before. Look at all the teams that made the playoffs. Almost all of them, maybe there was 1 or 2 exceptions, had a really good running game. Now, some of them, like Minnesota and Houston, the running game slowed down as the season, got longer. And that's because Joe Mixon and Aaron Jones are like that, class of 2017, almost 30 years old. I think in the right offense, I would love to see Ollie Gordon in the backfield in Minnesota. I'd love to see Ollie Gordon as the backup and then eventually the heir apparent to a guy like Joe Mixon. Those are great offenses. 6'1", 233. You mean this guy wouldn't look good in the powder blue and lightning bolt of the Chargers in a Jim Harbaugh offense? Just so many. I'd be very curious given his size, his combine metrics. But for right now, I'm going to stick with drafting the running backs. Give me Ollie Gordon,
which I'm fine with. He definitely, we talked about a little bit earlier, he struggled, but that whole team struggled. But there was, coming into this draft, it was like him and Travion Henderson were like the RB1s, before Ashton Genty decided he wanted to go absolutely nuclear. But I'm going to just keep the running backs going because that's what you should do with this class. And I'm going to go Dylan Sampson, the running back from Tennessee. Dude's a GD lightning bolt, man. If he runs in the 4.3s, I'm not going to be super surprised. He was productive in the SEC. What more can a brother ask for when it comes to the rookie draft, especially in the second round? Because if a running back like him hits, I'm going to profit. I'm going to profit even if it's for 1, 2, 3 weeks, and I don't believe in him, I can still profit. We've got people talking about Jaylen Warren like he's a valuable asset to a dynasty team, and we have been for like 3 years. If somebody falls in love with a running back, I promise you will hear about him. So I'm going to just keep stabbing at those.
I feel like we're just whipping out the junk and just like pissing all over like R. Kelly all over this wide receiver position. There's your reference.
Doing it.
But so you took so when you were out, we had our buddy Dallas Hyder. Dallas is actually cutting up a bunch of rookie stuff on our channel, the Dynasty WarZone. Make sure you subscribe to both. Dallas is going to be dropping some rookie bombs. He's put out his rankings. Dylan Sampson was his guy. And then last week's guest is leading to this week's pick, and that's Harold Fanning Jr. And that's from our boy Nino Brown. Again, it's tight end premium. I almost went 102. I almost went him over Ollie Gordon. I think this is a steal. Whether it's the fantasy guys, whether it's actual NFL people, the drumbeat for Harold Fanning Jr. just continues to grow. And again, I think given the right landing spot, he could be a borderline first rounder and a 2.0 tight end premium, because if you hit on that guy and he stays good, you've got an asset for like 8 to 10 years, because tight ends are just built different. Taking Harold Fanning Jr.
You know, I'm going to be honest with you. Nino sold me on that cat too. I mean, I'm not a guy that, like, you know, we made fun of, you know, YouTube scout NFL analyst guys, but if you think I didn't go through some of that guy's game logs after he praised him like that, you would be mistaken. And I could see why, because he was productive in every single game. Loved every second of it. As far as my pick, I am going to go with a wide receiver, Trey Harris, Ole Miss. He's just old, right? Like I think he played 5 seasons in college football, but he was relatively productive in all of them. Big guy, 6'3", 200-ish pounds. I mean, we're at 205, so if I'm going to take a shot, Mississippi's had some good wide receivers. I know they say don't scout the helmet, scout the person, but I've seen A.J. Brown, I've seen DK Metcalf, and, you know, watching this kid a little bit, he does look like he can make some plays, and if he ends up in a good situation, there's a chance he ends up a few picks earlier than where he is at currently, I think. But I'm for him.
I am sitting here laughing. There was an old, slow, I don't know that Trey Harris is going to be slow, but there was an old, slow wide receiver from Iowa State that Jerry fell in love with.
Fuck.
That the Podfather nicknamed Hakeem Bustler. I think it was actually Bustler, if I remember correctly, but he called him Hakeem Bustler. Jerry does have a thing for older, slower.
Listen, that's my Ames brother now. I mean, we're both Ames people. If I ever see Hakeem Butler, Randy, I am going to listen. This is we're going to sidebar for a second here. I am not a person that if I see an athlete, like, I'm never going to be like, can I get your autograph? Can I get your picture? Like, if I know you, I'm going to be like, hey, love your stuff, shake your hand, you know, get on about your way. I don't fanboy. If I ever come across Hakeem Butler, and it's possible, he went to Iowa State, I live in Ames, I am 100% getting a picture from him, and I'm changing my profile picture to me and Hakeem Butler, and the first person I'm going to send that picture to is Randy.
And then I'm going to forward it to the Podfather. All right, I'm going 206, and I'm going to go Alec Iomore. I don't know that I'm pronouncing his last name correct. Yeah. He had some really good, look at me being the film grinder. I'll be very curious to see his combine metric. Good height, 6'2", 210. So physically good size, 22. Weird thing is as technically a freshman, he's played 2 years at Stanford. He had 62 catches and had 1,000 yards. And then this year he had 63 catches and he had 831 yards. Quarterback play ever since Andrew Luck left Stanford has not been glorious, so I'm not going to hold that against him. He did kind of beat up on your boy Travis Hunter a little bit in the game against Colorado. So I think this guy, again, I'm going to get like a little bell to go ding. You know, depending on where this guy lands, I could see him, you know, popping up draft boards too. So I'm going to go Alec Iomore at the 206. And I know I butchered the name, so you can at me in the comments, but it's
yeah. I mean, listen, the last Stanford wide receiver that we talked about in rookie drafts was JJ Arcega-Whiteside.
No. It was Michael Wilson. I'm very.
Oh, did he go to Stanford? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I am gonna take one that I think a lot of people are gonna think is fucking dumb, Randy, and that's fair. I've said
we
lot.
Call that pulling a Jerry.
I have said a lot of dumb stuff in my time, but we are to the point where I want to take a quarterback. Like I'm taking a stab. I'm in the middle of the second. Like, what is the chances that this pick is going to matter at all? Not likely. So I'm going to take a shot. And I think a lot of people would go, oh, Jerry's going to take Jalen Milroe right here. Jerry's not going to take Jalen Milroe right here because I think Jalen Milroe is not good. I don't think he is able to pass the ball, and I think you need to be able to pass the ball. if you are going to play quarterback in the NFL, I have seen a person who has shown flashes, and yet, for whatever reason, people hate him. Quinn Ewers. Like, I know that, like, I mean, this dude got him to the playoff back-to-back years. Like, what did he have? 30 touchdowns and like 12 interceptions. I get it that he had a lot of interceptions. The year before that, it was like 25 and like 6 or something. Like, he started for 3 years.
Did he come out? Did he?
Yeah, I'm fairly certain. I'm pretty sure everyone hates him.
I thought he.
Now, if I fucked that up, then I apologize. But I
don't want to call you out, but I'm
no. If I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I'm wrong.
I'm gonna let you Google that.
He was entering, January 15th, entering the 2025 NFL draft.
Woof. Okay. Well.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean.
Right.
Nobody gives a shit about him, and I don't understand why. Like, I would take Quinn Ewers over Jalen Milroe 100 times out of 100 times. Like, I don't think Quinn Ewers is going to set the world on fire, but I also just don't think he's bad. Like, I don't know. We've seen him play against good defenses, and he's thrown well. I know everybody thinks Arch Manning is the second coming of the Messiah because everybody loves the backup quarterback. I mean, we had people telling me, Jeff Garcia should have been starting for Matthew Stafford 15 years ago for the Lions. Like, shut the fuck up. No. But I'm going to take Quinn Ewers. And it may be a stupid thing that everybody gets to make fun of me for. And in 8 years, we'll be talking about the Quinn Bustler in my draft, for that one. But
yeah, you guys, please go to Player Profiler Now Plus and please comment on this video, especially if you're listening on YouTube. Because not only do I disagree with Jerry, if you listen to the audio version, you're going to get the, brother, what's that? What's that, brother, drafting Quinn Ewers at the 207? If there was one word to describe this running back class this year, it'd be thick. Big dudes. With the exception of the guy you drafted, Dylan Sampson, all these guys are like, BMI is all like 30, 31 plus. I'm going to go Devin Neal.
Okay.
Big dude out of Kansas, 5'11", 220, 30.7 BMI, not 22 years old, 21 and a half. And what I like about this kid is that all of his stats are ascending. As a freshman, 158 carries, 180, 203, 219 rushing yards, 707, 1090, 1280. Okay, kind of stayed the same, 1266. Touchdowns, 9, 10, 17. Got a nose for the end zone. This is where the NFL is going with the running back position. And you know what, guys? I see in the chat, Rubio mentioned Mike Evans. Mike Evans was part of that time where the wide receivers were taking over startup drafts, and it was Odell Beckham Jr., Mike Evans, and then all of a sudden it shifted back to running backs. There's always going to be this swing, and I want to catch Devin Neal before I don't get enough Devin Neal. I think that he's a guy that I'm going to have a lot of. So Devin Neal for me, 208.
And I'm going to go back-to-back Longhorns. I'm going to go with Isaiah Bond, wide receiver. Not overly productive at all. I liked watching him play. So I don't have any just wisdom, no philosophical advantage that I am going to bestow on you. It's just every single time I watch that dude play, I thought he looked great. And he's fast and he's pretty good at separation. And maybe it's a shot on Quinn Ewers, who I just drafted, as to why he wasn't as productive. But guy played at Alabama. Guy played at Texas, and he was relatively the same person at both schools. Definitely not eye-popping stats. This is that's something that whenever I watched him, I always went, that guy's good. It's like Vontae Mack no matter what. Like in draft day, if you ever watch that, he writes down Vontae Mack no matter what, and he gets the first pick, whatever. Don't want to spoil it. We got the draft coming up. If you haven't watched it yet,
we're worried about Jerry's worried about spoiling like 15-year-old movies.
It came out 12 years ago or whenever the hell that came out.
It's a great plan. All right. Well, I'm up at the 210, and I've only got 2 more picks to make. Jerry's only got 1, and I think I can get this guy here. But man, I'm looking at the running backs. Woody Marks is 97 years old. I mean, he'll be on the wrong end of the running back curve in his of the age curve in his sophomore season. You know, you got Isaiah Bond's teammate in Matthew Golden. Our boy Jesse loved him. I think I'm going to go off the reservation and a guy that I've been fascinated with, and I think he's not landing spot dependent. He has to land in the right landing spot, and that's Xavier Restrepo. A lot of people like him. Interesting draft profile. You know, 1,127 yards this year, 11 touchdowns. You know, it's one of those ones like we'll all, you know, and this could be another Luke McCaffrey. But then again, this could also be another Julian Edelman. It really comes down to where they land and who the OC is. But I'm going to go ahead and it's the back end of the second round. I'm going to take Xavier Restrepo because I like the prospect. And at this point, this is YOLO territory.
True. And I'm going to take his teammate with my last pick. And this is, I mean, it's Damian Martinez, the running back. I mean, he's big. Like,
Now, Jerry, for someone who doesn't like the hype, I'm starting to get Damian Martinez drumbeat that you know, he's getting the hype.
I don't really know why he doesn't get more. Like, I get that he was productive at Oregon State and he was productive at Miami, but it didn't sort of take those steps that you want to see. That dude just runs with a fire in his belly, and I love it. I was so upset that he didn't transfer to MSU because we took their quarterback and we got their head coach, and he was the running back at Oregon State. So I sort of thought he was going to transfer to us, and he didn't, which pissed me off a little bit. But he has a fire every time, and he fights for every yard. He's a big guy. I mean, his reception totals have started to increase every single year. I mean, Randy, I fucking like Damian Martinez. Like, if Damian Martinez ends up getting some decent draft capital and he gets it and I take him at 202, I'm not going to be surprised, if you want me to be honest. And I mean, Randy wants me to keep going. I don't know what he's got going. He might have sharded. That might be what he did. But no, Martinez just runs deep. So what I'm going to talk about in this draft, Randy's got one more pick. I think he's got mic problems. So you're going to have to hear me talk for a little bit. The craziest thing about me. Yeah, I can hear you. You sound beautiful.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, I can't hear you, so I'm going to wrap this one up. We're going to put down Damian Martinez, but I cannot hear Jerry. I literally just had my microphone conk out in the middle of the live stream. Luckily, we're at the end. He went Damian Martinez. You're not going to hear any more Jerry tonight. Love Jerry. Jerry, you have a great week. I am going to land this plane blind, hopefully not upside down. And I will bring this home with, let me get back to my list here. We'll get back with, man, I'm all sorts. I'm going to go Jalen Royals, wide receiver out of Utah State, a guy getting a lot of hype this offseason. Yeah, Rubio, we see you. The Podfather, he cut us off after 1 hour. They're like, what are these guys doing going past their 1 hour time limit? That's a great one. But we are just over an hour. We were cruising. We were going to wrap it up. We're going to land this one big, but we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to recap it for you because I think that's an important thing to do. We went 201, Emeka Ibuka, number 202, Ollie Gordon, Dylan Sampson at the 203, Harold Fanning Jr. at the 204, 205, Trey Harris, 206, Alec Ayamaner, 207, Quinn Ewers. That was Jerry, not Memphis. 208, Devin Neal. 209, Isaiah Bond. 210, Xavier Restrepo. 211, his Miami teammate, Damon Martinez. And 212, Jalen Royals. All right, guys, that's a show. You heard me reference it a couple of times during the podcast. We do have a patron, patreon.com/Dynasty WarZone. We're doing mock drafts in there. We're doing trade questions, rookie pick questions. You get in the group chat, and it's $5 a month. And Jamie, my bad, it's Ayo Manor. But the patron, $5 a month, patreon.com/Dynasty WarZone. Shout out to Matt, our latest patron. And remember, use the promo code WarZone, whether you're signing up for FastDraft or the all-in package. I appreciate every single one of you for hanging out with us. And I'm going to find out about the old cutoff if we're not done by, you know what, Theo's on next week. I'll make Theo get it right. On behalf of Jerry, I am Memphis. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to playerprofiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.